Have I recorded any of this? No. What am I doing with my life? Okay. So we want to know f composed with g of x. This time I don't have a number. So I want f, but I'm not going to actually get a number. Instead, what do I put in for g of x? Just an x, so I just do x. What is gx? What is it? They told you in the problem. G of x is? Yeah, it's 2x squared. So everywhere I used to see of g of x, I'm going to put 2x squared. And now I want f of 2x squared. So everywhere in f that I used to see in x, I'm going to put in 2x squared. So it used to be f, a giant x plus 7, but they told me to replace x with this. So I'm replacing x with 2x squared. Forever ago, I know it's been quite a year, but forever ago when we were doing this, we would even practice with like cupcake. F of cupcake meant everywhere you saw an x, put a cupcake. Whatever's in the parentheses, you replace x with. Okay, and I went ahead and answered it because I promise you 17x squared is definitely one of the answer choices because it's been that kind of a year and someone's going to do that and break my heart. So I'll just go ahead and take that bullet for us so you won't do it. Okay, I asked you to write down 4 and 5 as well, and they said they wanted us to find the inverse. Oh, I see people still writing. Okay, the problem asks us to find the inverse of this function. First things first, let's replace f of x with a variable. What variable do we mostly use to replace f of x with? Yes? I thought that was you. I'm telling you, it's sad when I don't recognize the voices anymore. Jax, you can get your point. Okay, and then when we were supposed to do inverses, what do we do next? Like, the answer's not this. Even though I bet this is one of the answer choices too. The answer's not this. Inverse means we need to do something. I did hand motions and everything. What are we going to do? Who are we swapping? Yes, thank you, and you can have your point. Let's swap x and y. And now we need to solve for y. So let's get rid of that radical sign, that house. What do we need to do to get rid of the house? Let's square it. I heard 2 say square it. If you know who you are, you can give yourself your point. If I see someone with an obnoxious amount of points, I kind of keep up in my head, so please. Okay, and that's not my final answer. My final answer is y equals what? She said x minus 2, x squared, and you said x squared minus 2. I just can't hear. You can have your point. Okay, so when I subtracted 2, yes, I had x squared minus 2 equals y. It's the same thing as y equals x squared minus 2. I get it's Tuesday. That's what someone last week was like, it's May, Miss Compton. We don't have to do math anymore. I did not come back for you to not do any math. If we were going to just stop on math for the rest of the year, I promise you I would have stayed home with the QB. That's what someone first period said. They were being funny. They were being funny. Okay, so here is number 5. They asked us to find the inverse of this. So let's replace it. If you can beat me to the answer, your group can have 2 points. It's the exact same process. If you can beat me to the answer, your group can have 2 points. Come on. I didn't do math for 6 weeks. You still did. How am I beating you? Some of the last people was like, well, you're a math teacher. So? Please. Yeah, but I did all the work. I'll give you 1 point. I had done all the work. Okay. Yes, and that's the scary part about multiple choice, because there'll be other answers that look pretty darn good too. That's the problem. That is the problem. Okay, so we discussed for now we're going to keep doing our semester exam study guide as our math workshop. And then do you have out your packet we were working on yesterday? Thank you, Tom. Let's look at that packet from yesterday. We were talking about what you had been doing while I was gone. We quickly went over them, and then I realized as first period work today that they don't really know what they're doing. I guess they didn't practice any on their own. We decided, I know Miss Weathers had assigned you the top 5, and then the back page, the top 6. And I told you if you did extra, you would get bonus. If I walked around right now and actually checked your paper, would I cry? Yes. I appreciate the honesty. I would choose to look. Okay, so I do want to help you a bit and give you some time to work. So I know we had discussed that there should be a test Wednesday. That's why the board says, I know Justice read that and was so scared, especially since he was out yesterday, that there's a test Wednesday. I'm going to change that to Thursday because I don't have unrealistic, I need to make sure you got this and know what you're doing. So we're going to change it to Thursday in exchange for the fact that Justice is going to do all the things. All the things. So he's going to not only have the problems assigned on the worksheet, but he's also going to have his study guide done. We're going to change it to Thursday. We're going to change it to Thursday. I am posting the key to the study guide, as always, yes. Okay, I do want to talk a little bit about things, just because I don't know how Miss Weathers explained it.
Not very well.
I'm sure she did a great job, Meanie, but I'm sure she did a great job. But I just want to explain it my way to make sure, I don't know, you heard it my way, I don't know. Okay, and then I'm going to walk around and give you a chance to work on it. I do want to change your study guide. I do want to change some things on your study guide because you didn't have a chance to actually practice angle of elevation, angle of depression, so we're going to take off 11 and 12. Now that breaks my heart because what on God's green earth was the point if we don't actually discuss, there's a person, let's see, Jessica's a person, what's the point if you don't discuss, here's the person looking at how tall is the building, if you don't actually discuss those kind of problems, then why do trig? But the good news is I'm sure you're going on to pre-cal or another math class where this will be important to you, and if you are like Ellie and you had me in geometry, you've already done these before anyway. Seriously, if you had me in geometry, I know you already had to do all this. So all of us have had geometry, so all of us already should know how to do all this. Math, darn it, with its repetitive self, darn. So if you want to try 11 and 12, you can, but there aren't any like this on the test, so it's okay if you want to cross them off your study guide. Okay, I want to work number 1 of the study guide with you because I want to talk about the 6 trig functions because I kind of just let that go yesterday because I don't know. I didn't mean to. Okay, what are the 6 trig functions? Okay. There is sine. Yeah, there's not sin. There's sine, cosine, and tangent. Okay. Thank you. Because last period was one said SEC, there's cot, there's SEC, there's CSC, and I thought that was funny. Okay, so if you forgot sine, cosine, and tangent, what acronym is supposed to help you remember that? Okay, every group can have a point. Okay. Oh. And before I even write the other 3 down, I'm going to have to figure out something's missing on this triangle. What side of this triangle is missing? Karen said it first. She can have her point. The hypotenuse is missing. In fact, it's missing, and I'm going to put an X on it because I need to find it. Okay, the theta is here. Six and 3 are on my nerves. So does that mean the 16, is that the opposite or the adjacent?
No, that's
6. You're my nerves. I'm going to ask my question again and offer you the point. The theta, you see where it is in that triangle? Is the 16, is it the opposite or is it the adjacent? What does adjacent mean?
It's like the same.
Yeah.
Next to.
Is that 16 next to that theta?
That's opposite.
Okay. Hey, you who knew the definition of adjacent, you can have a point. No pity point for Justice. Okay, Justice helped us figure it out. He's going to get his point now because he's going to help me solve this for this third side. What do you use to solve for the missing side? What theorem? Okay, you can have your point now. Has someone actually done the Pythagorean theorem while me and Justice were having this discussion, and can they tell me the value? Ellie, how did you know that? How did you know it? Did you solve? Okay, what was 16 squared? Is it bad I didn't remember that? Oh, good thing I don't take a final. Okay, Ryan had me last year. Ryan should have already known this. Why should Ryan have known this?
I had you last year.
You did have me last year. There's a reason Ryan already knows these values, because Ryan memorized and took a test on his triples. He did. He forgot that word. Angel had to remember it for him. Angel and Elliot already said it. Elliot and Angel can have their point. I knew this was a multiple of a 3, 4, 5. Yay, math. But, it's okay. I make my life easier so I don't have to simplify fractions. But Ryan said, fractions no big deal. So I need to know sine. It's opposite over hypotenuse. 16 over 12 over 20 because opposite over hypotenuse. Okay, great. That fraction reduces to, okay, terrific. If I had just gone with my 3, 4, 5 multiple, I would have been there to begin with, but I digress. Cosine would be what? And that reduces to? Okay, and then for some reason only 2 and 5 are competent at math today, so anyone besides 2 and 5, if you can tell me tangent, I'll give you your group a point. Okay, and that reduces to? 2 and what? Oh, you said 12 over 16. It's 16 over oh, man. Opposite over adjacent. You know TOA, though. Opposite over adjacent. Excuses. I wasn't here for weeks, and I still do this. Thank you, Jack. Okay, so I know, and I'm about to let it go. I know that Miss Weathers did it in a different order than me. She did sine, cosine, and tangent, and then she didn't do cotangent. I always do sine, cosine, tangent, cotangent, secant, cosecant. And let me explain why, and let me explain how you can remember, and then seriously, it's your turn to practice, because honestly, I've talked at you about this, she's talked at you about this. If you don't actually practice this, then you're never going to get it. Tangent goes with cotangent. So when I say they go together, seriously, if you know tangent, cotangent is that fraction flipped. So I already know what cotangent is. What value is cotangent? Yeah, seriously, I'm just going to flip it. And I put them in this order for a reason. So tangent, cotangent, they're easy to remember together. I get a little confused to remember that cosine goes with secant. So I'm a big Bama football fan. To me, that looks like SEC. That almost looks like con for conference. So that's how I remember secant and cosecant go together. Secant cosine, because it almost looks like SEC conference. So for secant, what value should I put? Okay, and then sine has to go with, yes, it has to go with cosecant, and it is 5/4. Thank you, ma'am. So I don't know how she was explaining it, and if how she explained it made sense to you, keep rolling with it, but that's how my teacher taught me, and I wanted to show you. Okay,